Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text 12. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavet Yugapaduttita Yadi Bhaha Sadrushi Sasyat Bhasastasya Mahatmanaha. So Sanjaya is describing this form, this universal form of Krishna. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavet. In the sky, Divi Sahasrasya Suryaha Bhavet Yugapat Uthita. If thousands of suns were to rise at once, Surya Sahasrasya Uthita Yugapat, at once, Bhavet, if it were to happen, Yadi Bhaha Sadrushi, that kind of, just imagine that kind of Bha, effulgence, Sasyat, similar effulgence, Bhasastasya Mahatmanaha, was exhibited in the Supreme Lord, in the Supreme Lord's universal form. If hundreds of thousands of suns rose up at once into the sky, they might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. So Sahasrasya means thousands, thousand, but can literally be taken to be innumerable, because thousand suns simultaneously rising in the sky would be uncountable, isn't it? Like the uh, heroic deeds of Krishna, thousands of heroic deeds of Krishna in his various incarnations. This statement is made to elucidate the splendor of that universal form. So, because of lack of proper available comparison, Sanjaya is describing. Sanjaya is trying to give a mental picture, because what Arjuna saw was indescribable. So Sanjaya is trying to give a mental picture of that great revelation to Dhritarashtra. Sometimes Krishna's beauty is described with some analogies of this material world, like lotus flower, like a dark cloud which is about to rain. But these are all as best as we can get, because of lack of better analogies, because the language stops there, the beauty of the world stops there. For want of better things, we pick the best available things to describe the spiritual subject matter. But actually, it is indescribable. Krishna's beauty or Krishna's glory. So Sanjaya is trying to his best. So this instruction is also there in Srimad Bhagavatam, that we all have limited abilities. But that does not mean, one might say, oh, I don't have any ability. I only know this much. I don't understand much about subject matter or the Lord's glories. But then the instruction is as much as you know. Because even the biggest scholar, the so called learned person, how much he can learn about Krishna. Even Lord Brahma himself says, I am just like a small lamp in front of a sunlight of Krishna. So even if you were to become as big as Brahma, our ability to describe and understand Krishna or spiritual subject matter, the Vaikuntha, the Goloka, is very limited. Therefore, the instruction is Yadha Manisham. We should glorify with whatever capacity currently we have. Everyone has their own bhava, and with that they can glorify Krishna. So Prahlad Maharaj says this in Srimad Bhagavatam, this very important principle, that everyone should glorify to whatever ability they have. Yatha Manisham. Tasmadaham vigata viklava ishvarasya सर्वात्मना महि घृणामि यथा मनीषं नीचो जया गुणविसर्गमनुप्रविष्टः पूये तये नहि पुमान् अनुवर्णितेन. So when Narsimhadev came in his fiercest, angriest avatar, and none of the devatas, including Lord Brahma, for saving whose words he came, the Lord came, or even Lakshmi Devi herself, they were so afraid to go near the Lord. So Lord Brahma pushed Prahlad Maharaj in front of the angry Narsimhadev. It is like pushing a small child, baby child, small child, into the den of a lion. But then Prahlad Maharaj knew that this was my Lord. For a cub, the mother lion is not fearful. The father lion is not fearful. He'll jump on the father. So Prahlad Maharaj was not afraid. But he was, before he was offering prayers to the Lord, he knew that his background was sinful family. He was born in a demoniac family. So he for a moment hesitated, but then he recollected the principle that even though I am born in a demoniac family, I may without a doubt offer prayers to the Lord with full endeavor as far as my intelligence allows. So, because if one offers, one makes such an attempt, they'll get purified. Bhakti means a process of constant purification. So, Prabhupada mentions even if one with a small feeling, with devotion, one should feel, oh, God is great and I am very small. Therefore, my duty is to offer my prayers to the Lord. So, this is the basis. Only on this basis can one understand and render service to the Lord. It's very simple. God is great and I am very small. Therefore, my duty is to offer my prayers to the Lord. This is the only way Krishna says. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Krishna, without a doubt, he mentions in Bhagavad Gita. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by bhakti, only by devotional service. The other thing to note here is Sanjaya is describing this form sitting somewhere in the courtyard, in the court of the king, in the quarters of Dhritarashtra. Neither Sanjaya nor Dhritarashtra were present on the battle, but Sanjaya, by the grace of his spiritual master, who is Vyasadev, he could see whatever is happening on the battlefield. Now there is technology. Whatever is happening somewhere in the remote corner of the world, a cricket match, is telecasted live. Instantly we can see. So why is it not possible? In olden times, it's not that they were deprived of technology, but there is subtle technology. It's not gross technology. They could manufacture weapons with mantras. We have description in Mahabharata and other scriptures. By mantra, you can manufacture different kinds of weapons: tornado weapons, fire weapons, air weapons, nuclear weapons, the Brahmastra, and it won't cause any collateral damage if you use it properly. It'll attack only that particular target. So all these things were present, but they were relying on the mercy of the higher authority. If the higher authority is pleased, they can bestow. Like when Dronacharya was pleased, he bestowed all the tricks to Arjuna. So by the grace of the spiritual master, all these things become revealed in the heart. This is a very, very important principle that one can easily miss. It is obvious that if one pleases Krishna, we can progress in devotional service. But how do we please Krishna? We can please Krishna by understanding what Krishna likes, what Krishna wants, and that we can understand only by a bona fide acharya coming in disciplic succession. That is why there is Master God, who is Krishna, and there is Servant God, who is the spiritual master. He is not God, but he should be treated exactly like God because he is representing God. He should not claim that he is God, but he is just like a government representative. He is visiting the country. He is given all respect as due for the president because he is representing the whole nation. So, like that, साक्षाद्धरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रैर् उक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव साध्भिः किन्तु प्रभोर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम्. So what it means is the spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. And where is it said? Uktastadha bhavyata eva sadbihi samasta shastraihi. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. So that is how one should please Krishna. And when one pleases the spiritual master, see how, by the mercy of Vyasadeva, how Sanjaya was able to see all this. But if you act otherwise, take the example of Ashwadhama from Mahabharata. One can easily understand the risk of unauthorized service. So, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when both the camps, the warriors were killed, and it was the final stages when Duryodhana was down, his spine broken, being beaten by the club of Bhimasena. He was down lamenting, and at that point, Ashwadhama, he wanted to please Duryodhana, but what did he do? He went and against the principles of war during night time when the five sons of Draupadi were sleeping, he beheaded them and delivered them as a prize to his master. He was foolishly thinking that Duryodhana will be pleased. But Duryodhana, he disapproved of that heinous act. He was not pleased in the least. And Duryodhana, he was lamenting in pain that there was no one else remaining to carry on the family line of the Kurus. And he breathed his last mourning for that matter. And Ashwadhama also, seeing his master die in grief rather than joy, he also became repentant. So you see, by his oversmart actions, Ashwadhama neither pleased himself nor his master. So likewise, an unauthorized service may give temporary sense pleasure, but the essential matter of pleasing Krishna and establishing loving relationship with him will be lost. So trying to serve Krishna out of our own whims and fancies is like repeating the mistake of Ashwadhama. So we have to understand and serve according to proper authorized instructions of the spiritual master. Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam. Bhakti means it has to be favorable. Anukulya means not pratikula. Like the spiritual master says, you bring me a glass of water, and you bring him, oh, I'll give him even better. Let me get him some hot milk. You're serving him, but it is pratikula. It is not according to what he wants. So bhakti means anyabhilashita shunyam gnana karmadhyanavrutam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. Anukulyena krishna anusilanam bhaktiruttama. Uttama bhakti is you engage in serving Krishna favorably. So there was one morning walk. Prabhupada and his disciples, they were walking. And usually when they were walking, a lot of disciples would keep asking questions to Srila Prabhupada. And this morning, they were asking so many esoteric questions about Krishna and the gopis and Vrindavan and all these kind of things. So Prabhupada seemed like he was not too pleased with what is being asked, way and above the current realizations of the devotees. But in the end, there was one disciple. He said, Prabhupada, I am a book distributor in Chicago. We are distributing so many of your books there. Our desire is to really please you by this book distribution in Chicago. And our desire is to be able to distribute 100 books each and every day for your satisfaction. And then finally, Prabhupada looked at him. And then he paused and said, just see, this is my real disciple. My real disciple is always thinking how to please the spiritual master. This is an example of a real devotee. And this is just to show that serving the spiritual master is not about lip service or asking impertinent questions. When the spiritual master is pleased with your service, the spiritual master will bestow unlimited realizations about the spiritual world, about Krishna, about Radharani, about the gopis. But we have to earn it. Ours is not an armchair philosophy, just mental speculation, sitting and doing nothing. We are active movement. This is another revolutionary preaching in Bhagavatam, that spiritual path is not about sitting idle and speculating and studying Vedanta and doing nothing. It's about activity. It's a positive activity. It's an activity centered around Krishna. It's an enthusiastic, energetic activity. Krishna is urging Arjuna to fight. He's not asking Arjuna to sit and I will do for you. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So we act. A living entity has to act. Everybody acts. But for want of good activity, we are acting in Maya. When we come to Krishna consciousness, we act positive activity for Krishna. And the other thing to note in this verse is that Arjuna and Krishna, Prabhupada says that one can understand. Prahlad Maharaj, he decided to offer his best prayers to the Lord without consideration of his material position. And you see, Arjuna is also going to offer his prayers towards the end of this chapter, and those prayers are really glorified as one of the best prayers. And that is triggered by Krishna's darshan. So we have to, we are all looking for inspiration, isn't it? Every day we are looking for some energy, motivation, enthusiasm to do something, look forward to something. So when one progresses in spiritual life, one is always looking forward, because in the spiritual world, every minute there is variety. Every step is a dance, every word is a song. Krishna is the master who is giving unlimited pleasure and happiness to his devotees there. So it is not hackneyed. So someone asked, Prabhu, spiritual, you're saying spiritual life means variety, variegatedness. But then we are chanting Hare Krishna, the same mantra we are chanting. There is no variegatedness. What do you say about that? See, what we need to understand is when you properly chant Hare Krishna mantra, when you properly hear in your own mind, you are thinking variety, variety. When you properly chant the Hare Krishna mantra, when you hear, it is Krishna himself, then you understand. Then if you are properly chanting, you wouldn't ask that question. On a material level, it seems like an ordinary sound made of ordinary syllables. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But see all the acharyas, how much pleasure they are deriving. Like Rupa Goswami is saying, I don't know how much nectar this two syllables Krishna has produced. That I feel like possessing millions of tongues. What to speak of one tongue? One tongue is not good enough for me. I feel like possessing millions of ears to hear. Like when you are, for example, when you are hungry, you go home, your mother cooks you nice rice and hot dal, hot rice, dal and ghee. And it is the most basic thing, isn't it? But you gobble it up like anything and you find the most satisfaction in it. The basic thing is giving you satisfaction. Why? Because it is made with love. You are hungry, you need energy. So, to relish Hare Krishna mantra, you need love of Krishna and you need that spiritual hunger. Then you can relish, even though it might seem like made of ordinary things. Because material mind keeps on jumping from one thing to the other. We are never satisfied with anything, isn't it? We always want different channels, different streams, subscriptions, different cars, upgrades, different brands, clothes, because we are not satisfied with one thing, because we have not tasted that eternal spiritual varieties from Krishna. If we had tasted, then we wouldn't look for anything else. When you actually are cleansed, then Krishna will show you all intricacies of the spiritual world. But for that, we need to engage in sadhana bhakti. We need to remove our contamination, our diseased state of mind by properly practicing every day. You know, when you are practicing a musical instrument, for example, when I was learning guitar, you know, every day it was a struggle. We had to go to the teacher and he would ask us, you hold these fingers very tight The sound is not coming, and these fingers would hurt, it would bleed, and it had to become roughened. And after several months, we were able to produce nice sound, and you know, and then we could see, oh, this is so much fun. And so all the varieties of songs started to come. Before that, only exercise, 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 holding properly, strumming properly, practicing rigorously. But after few months, everything effortless. So like that, in order to come to that stage, we need to engage in proper rigor. Every day we have to take a vow to chant specific number of rounds, do specific hearing, specific reading, do some services, whatever we have taken vow for, we should meet that. And then eventually we will see how we are progressing. We'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments?
Right. One question.
Yeah.
So the Ashwatthama example, after his master was not pleased, but he still goes back again and then try to attack Parishit Maharaj in the womb, right? So how do we understand that?
Yeah, this is a result of self manufactured service without proper guidance. He is still harboring false ego and a mood of avengefulness. He's not properly trained. He's not properly surrendered to anyone and not taking any active instructions. So it shows that your mind is always unbridled. So that is another example why one should surrender to a spiritual master and not become a servant of our mind, which can force us to do crazy things.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.